Welcome to Deep Truth, episode 1. Right, not done these before, so what's the plan? I'm just going to go through a quick feed on my, just what I found off X this morning. Could be down something, so I'm a bit, but let's go through it anyway. Just want to cover the news of, I'd like to do these quite regularly. Just covering what's going on. What the fuck is going on? So, look at this. UK now has the highest reported rape per capita in the developed world. More than France, the US, Mexico. Don't know if you've been to Mexico. I have many times. It's a great place, but fuck me, it's not safe. Same as Colombia. Look at that. Highest. Only close to Sweden. Now, I've covered many things on my socials about Sweden before. That is in the space of, 10 years? Sweden used to be a very safe place. Now, it's a fucking shithole. It's full of gangs. Excuse me. Full of gangs. The rapes have obviously gone up because of immigration. Gone up to insane numbers. Look at that. Oh, just realised my banner's in the place. So look. Let's move this banner out of it. Let's get it there. Right, you can see it all now. Look at that. Well, at least we're the top of something. Fuck me. Shambles. And because we fudge the statistics and hide it, they do it in Sweden, so we can see in full transparency. We fudge the statistics a hell of a lot in the UK. So we don't record them, we hide things. Look at the super injunction that's just come out today or yesterday. Give you an idea. There's so much fucking distrust going on, both in politics and in society in general. No one trusts anything. Everyone feels unsafe. Everyone feels like they're just battered and blue, raped of all the finances. You know, we get taxed and fucking fined left, right and centre. If it's not bills going up, there's another way to take money from you. People have just fucking had enough. People just can't be fucked anymore. And you can see it, like the people that were normally quiet and just carried on had some resilience and grit and thought, fuck it, just keep going. Even they've had enough. You know. Anyway, so that's the rape thing. I've covered many of that on my social. And like I say, the purpose of this video is just to go what I've been finding. I'll do it every couple of days or maybe every so often anyway. The Department for Work and Pensions figures suggest more than 1 million foreign nationals. That's foreign nationals are claiming universal credit. Should the foreign nationals be allowed to claim universal credit? I put no, obviously. What are we doing? And look at that comment there. Now, many of you liberals would see that and say, oh, that's Islamophobic. Look at where we are importing from. The majority of it are Muslim. Fucking insane. And whilst I've got nothing against Muslim people, I have a big problem against Islam. And if you know anything about history, or if you've ever been to any Muslim places for a prolonged period of times, I've been to Dubai, which is an anomaly because it was not really there 80 years ago. Abu Dhabi is pretty similar. But I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Bahrain, Azerbaijan, Qatar, Mozambique, Saudi, for a very long period of time. You go to any of these Muslim countries and they don't have extremism. We have more extremists here in the UK than we do throughout the entirety of the Muslim world, Muslim countries. And we do so because we have wet liberals who have no fucking idea of how the world works. In Muslim countries, they deal with it head on. They tackle it head on. They know full first hand of what can happen when you let extremists have a voice, be allowed to get away with the things that they do. Like, here's an example. Allahu Akbar. If you went chanting that in a street, in any Muslim country, you would know firsthand that it's a war chant. Right? And it'd get you into some serious implications. Here, it's fine. There's a reason no Muslim country allows Palestinians in, because they know exactly what the Palestinians are like. They know the history. They know all the civil wars that they've been in and caused. They know all the terrorism they get involved in. They know all the indoctrination in the schools and so forth. And they know exactly what vile people they are. And I will say they are vile people. Because that's what happens when you are brought up to hate. Now you get many liberals going shouting, "Oh, that's racist." No, because you're not even mentioning race. You're mentioning a people and you're mentioning a culture. All the Muslim countries that I've been to, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I've enjoyed the people there and I've got on great with them. But they know the extremists as well as I do. And they know how to deal with it. We don't. And we don't because of our own failings of very liberal, very hard left. People jump to the point where they call you racist, this, that and the other, simply for pointing dangerous things out. They have no idea the difference between race and culture. They have no idea of what other parts of the world are like. They're not very well travelled. And those that are travelled just go to popular touristy places. It's insane. So anyway, that's that one. What else have we got? Oh, Singapore are now understanding. I know this is the... it's just Japan that are... we'll come on to that in a minute. So, Singapore, very wealthy country. I think it's second, or top 3 GDP. They have very good structures for setting up businesses there. They have low tax. So you've got an abundance of wealth. Everyone wants to set up. Geographically it's excellent because you can get into all the Asian markets. So it's an incredible place to do business. It's clean, it's rich, it's safe. Yet we're sending a load of money there. And whether you like to, if you have any understanding of how finance works and how money works, you will understand that we are broke. We are at breaking point. We are... How could you put it? We're beyond putting plasters on. We are in serious shit. Financially. And culturally. Every service that we have is at a breaking point. It can't handle it. Whether it be the police, the NHS, doctors, schools. if general infrastructure, roads, water, everything is struggling. It doesn't help that we've added 15 million people in the space of, 15 years? Well, just shy of 20 years. So then that fractures society, because no one knows everyone. Everyone's alien. So every part of society is fractured. And like I say, financially, we are screwed. And we're going to be even more screwed because, taxes and everything else go up. Everyone that brings something to society from a financial standpoint is leaving. Which means they have to put up taxes more because no one's really contributing financially, bringing wealth to the country. And yet, we're forking out money overseas on insane projects. Fucking stupid. Thought this was a good thing. This country has bent the knee long enough. We rewrote our laws, censored our speech, rebuilt our cities, and gagged our children, all to appease the most easily offended ideology in the Western world. We gave Islamophobia special status. We jailed citizens for tweets. We let gangs flourish in towns we no longer name. And still they demand more silence, more space, more power. Well, here's the answer. No. No more hiding our flags. No more apologising for our cartoons. No more second legal systems, second moral codes, or second languages. You have the right to worship, not the right to rule. This is Britain, not a caliphate in waiting, not a province of cowardice. We won't burn your mosques, but we will burn the lies that built this silence. Ballots, not bricks. And we will build an electoral fortress. No more pandering. We will not live as foreigners in our own land. And I think that comes as a great forward. This is the Bilton School incident. Let's close that. This is what I wrote to the school. Obviously, if you don't know it, where have you been? But the girl got kicked out of school for celebrating her culture on Culture Day. In her culture. But guess what? English. So the head teacher and board of governors. I write this not merely as a concerned citizen, but as someone who refuses to stay silent while this country's institutions continue to publicly humiliate and marginalise the very identity they're built upon. Your recent decisions to publicly reprimand and exclude a schoolgirl for wearing a Union Jack dress on Cultural Day is not only disgraceful, it's cowardly, it's hypocritical, and frankly, anti-British. Let's be clear. This wasn't some act of defiance or disruption. This was a young girl participating in a school-sanctioned event celebrating her culture, British culture, with pride, dignity, and innocence. And you punished her for that. What many of us want to know is this. Why? Because the flag of this nation apparently causes offence in this country. You allowed other students to wear traditional dress and celebrate their heritage without issue, as you should. But the moment a child proudly wore the symbol of her own nation, you chose to shame her. You treated her as if her patriotism was dangerous, offensive, unacceptable. How would you feel if this was your child? How would you act? Would you act so weak and callous? This is not inclusion. This is institutional bias, thinly veiled behind the mask of progressive ideology. And your standard apology framework you put out is both pathetic and weak. Let me ask you plainly. Are you running a school or a social engineering experiment? because it's starting to look like young British children are being taught to apologise for their very existence, to sit down, shut up, and make room for every other culture while applauding, while every other culture is applauded for doing the very thing this girl was punished for. Like most, I am sick of it. Where is your safeguarding policy when you humiliated a minor in front of her peers? Where's your consistency, your equality, your basic decency? Let's be frank, it is you that should be embarrassed and ashamed. However, part of me feels, after reading your so-called apology, that you don't really see the problem, and wrote that merely out of requirement than reflection. You don't teach diversity by excluding your own. You don't promote inclusion by vilifying the majority. And you certainly don't raise confident, respectful people by turning British identity into a taboo subject. The Union flag is not a symbol of hate. It's not a political statement. It's the national emblem of this country that's flown on government buildings, carried by Olympians, draped on the coffins of men and women who died to protect the very freedoms you're now too afraid to uphold. And you're an embarrassment to that very flag. And bravo to the young girl and her family who's shown courage when you couldn't. You owe this young girl and her family a full public apology. Not some half-hearted, politically sanitised statement, but a genuine admission that you got this very, very wrong. And while you're at it, you owe the rest of us an explanation. When did celebrating British culture become punishable in a British school? I refuse to let us raise a generation of children who are ashamed of who they are, to be who they are. We will not allow schools to dictate which cultures are acceptable and which ones should be quietly erased. And we will not start holding shameful institutions like yourself to account until this dangerous, divisive trend is put to rest once and for all. Yours, an utterly disgusted but proud Englishman. Now, if you read this apology that they put out, and you hear the statement from the father, you'll know that for days that he didn't get anything from the school, and it's only when it started getting public they actually issued an apology over the phone. It's forced rather than genuine. And this isn't just in this one school. This is happening up and down the country, and I am fucking sick of it. Anyway, let's go on to the next. Say what you want, but say what you like, but our enemy is ruthlessly efficient. And I will agree on that. But it's time for us to start being efficient, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the next piece. Homeless English lad with one leg forced to live in a makeshift camp after being kicked out of his accommodation by the council, while we secretly fly in thousands of Afghans and put them in 4-star hotels. Yep. For the past year, I've been trying to help a lad get off the streets. English lad. Got into a situation where he's not a drug addict, not an alcoholic or anything like that. But he found his mum overdosed when he was younger, and that obviously fucked him up a little bit. So he is a bit troubled. He's not violent. He doesn't break the law or anything like that, but he does have some mental health issues. And I've been helping him. And it's insane how difficult it is, having to deal with the councils, the NGOs, the charities. You realise, or I've realised, how many of them were set up as a cash grab. Not as a way to serve, but literally to make money, to serve these people on the board. And whilst charities can't profit, the people on the board can, the people at the top can. And they do not give a shit. I have been bounced from charity to NGO to council. And I've realised how much money we squander. How much red tape there is. And like I say, how many of these people who really do not give a shit. Yet, if you come over in a boat, you get everything. While the British, English taxpayers, working people are fleeced left, right and centre. People get it who are not from here, get it all for free. Now, I'm not blaming them, because we are all opportunists at the end of the day. But there has to be a stop to it. Because what about my people? What about my family? What about your family? As the society becomes even more fractured and foreign, something has to give. And I'll be honest with you, that something is us. Those people that have stayed silent for so long. This is on you now. You can't just sit by, do nothing, keep quiet. Because it'll be too late. This was a good one. I'll pause this there and I'll play the audio on this in a minute. Manchester airport incident last year that was precursor, or one of the precursors to the riots last year. This gives you an idea of the two-tier, and I hate that term, but it's true. This is a police station. Imagine if a load of white kids were outside a police station doing this. What do you think would happen?
If it was your mother, how would you feel if it was your mother?
Now this isn't the only video, there's many. People protesting outside a police station and the police hid. They cowered. Now, don't blame the people on the streets. They have my utmost respect. Or at least some of them anyway. Because, hey, it's not easy. But I do blame the police force, the institution. Because commands and instructions come from above. And situations like this keep happening again and again and again. And everyone says, oh, the government, the state, is afraid of the Muslim community. I don't think that's the case. I think the reality is they're afraid of the working class people. They're afraid of the English, the British. Because what happens when this community rises up, so do the English. And there's far more force behind that. That is what they're afraid of. Now, I'd like to say, but these are English. No. Yes and no. We are in the early stages of a civil war. And the fact is that this community here segregates on the most part. Not all. There's some amazing people in that community. I know a lot of them. I know some of them. But the community as a whole segregates itself. And they do so because of Islam. They have to. It's in their book. They have to. So therefore, by its very definition, you have segregation on many, many, many issues. And it causes a divide. You can't have that. How can I put it? There's always going to be a divide there. And if you continue adding to those numbers, that divide's going to get even worse, because you need an integration of people. You need to create a community of cohesion, of commonality and common purpose. And all we're doing is we're just putting fuel on the fire. So, with this issue here, we do have that two-tier. But I don't think it's because of the reasons they say it is. I think they genuinely are scared of the working class, white English, standing up. The government know it. The police know it. And they're scared. So they let things like this happen. And while it boils the piss out of everyone that sees it, it's easy, because if they start making arrests, then more of these people come out, which then fuels the riots that we've seen last year. With taxes up, inflation up, unemployment up, and the economy shrinking, two things are very clear. Socialism isn't working, Labour isn't working. Now, I'd add to that, it's not just Labour, it's Conservative. I'd say it's Reform, I'd say it's the entire establishment that we've built. We have allowed things to crumble for so long. We fleece people left, right and centre. Make it unbearable and unlivable for people just to live. If you're not taxed heavy, you're fleeced heavy. Of fees, fines, bills. Then it's getting bad. We've covered that one. There we go again. Two-tier. How many people have been done for social media posts? Carlisle. Eli Crook, 21, caught with 16,000 CSA images and videos of 3-month-old babies being raped. 3-month-old. Walked free. Fucking hell. How sick is our system? But you've got this sickness coming from every angle. Like I say, you're fleeced left, right and centre. The law's not working for you. It's dangerous on the streets. And I'll come to that in a minute. It's dangerous. And then when you get to the judiciary system, it doesn't work. It's been infiltrated by freaks and weirdos. What world are we living in? Where that That roams free. Yet for doing a social media post, 3 years in jail. And I know you have to look at things case by case, but when you zoom out and you keep seeing this day by day, it goes beyond being anecdotal. It goes far more sinister than that. There we go, another one. This is the bloke flashing himself to kids. The dad seen it, went over and knocked him out. Good, rightly so. That's the dad there. Good on you, lad. Knocked him out. Pervert flashes kids. Dad tacks pervert to stop him. Dad gets arrested. Dad gets sentenced to 18 months in prison. Suspended, but still. Pervert. That is more than what that last one got. And he had images of 3-month-old babies. Videos of 3-month-old babies getting raped. And this guy gets more than the other guy. What the fuck are we doing? Dad gets sentenced to 18 months in prison, suspended. Pervert described as a victim by the court, and the judge expresses relief the pervert is okay. Fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Sick of it. Something has to give. And it's not even something has to give. Every part of the infrastructure is fucked. Every part of the infrastructure needs working on. Completely rebuilding. There we go. Don't need to say anything on this cunt. First we cover all open spaces in the UK with solar panels. Then we attempt to dim the fucking sun. Put chemicals in the air. Oh, fucking great. We are living in an insane asylum. Now, I don't know whether this is true or not, but I thought it caught my eye. Rupert Lowe had his and Sammy Woodhouse had their thing in Parliament where they brought in a load of survivors, rape survivors from across the country. And MPs came in and chatted to him. I guess to raise awareness and bring some more light to what's the atrocity that we've allowed to happen, continue to allow to happen. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but not one Reform MP even turned up to the inquiry. To everyone's... Here's the thing about Reform. I think it's great that they will split, and they will split, the two-party system. It's something that we've needed for a hell of a long time. So by that alone, I want Reform to win. But I don't for once believe that they are right for the job. I think they are right for the first stage of splitting that system that we've got in place. And it's needed. Because you break those traditions, you can move forward, you can make changes then. But I don't believe Reform's the party to do it. I think there's some far more drastic changes that need to happen. But I also understand that it takes time to do that. But I don't believe that time is something that we have in this country. I've covered that previously. That's the... I brought that up for the schoolgirl that got kicked out for wearing a dress. How long ago was that? Less than 30 years ago, that. Fucking hell. There was a time when we was proud. Now it's that pride is being victimised or vilified. I think is the best way of saying it. Now look at this. North Africans in Spain with gloves and knives. If you've been seeing, I say the news, if you've been looking into what's happening, because they don't show this shit on the news. We had this last year in the UK, where the English were out rioting and protesting, two separate things, but they were, you know, I'm not denying that, both rioting and protesting, right? But the majority of it was peaceful protests. However, there were strongholds in the Muslim community that were out with weapons, all on video. If you deny it, you either haven't even done it, haven't even been asked to go look into things, or you're a fucking idiot. You got parts of the Muslim community out in full force with weapons, and you've got the police sat there talking to him, friendly, saying, "Oh, go and put your weapons in the mosque, please. There. Let's all singy song." What world are we living in? What world are we living in where that happens? And it's not just the over here. Like I said, we had it last year. We're going to have it again and again in this country because we're not addressing the problem. We're only fueling it. And it happens in Spain. It's happened in France. Look at this. Police just down the road. Not doing anything. We had that here. And it's going to happen again and again and again. Now, I was surprised last year that no one got killed. But we will get to that point. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this summer, given what's gone on over the last 12 months. The country's at a breaking point. No comment. Now, I'll bring on to this. So this happened. Someone taking pictures of kids. Presumably got a kicking by the parents. If not, should have done. Oh yeah, there we go. Now, yesterday, I had to remove a man from the park, my local park, while I was out with my kid, because he was taking photos. Now, he was non-white, let's put it that way. A week earlier, a woman on my road was attacked at knife point and nearly raped. He was white. Now, the amazing thing about that one is the man had been let out on day release and he was serving 2 life sentences for, guess what? Severely beating a woman and raping her. On his day release last time. So you've got a man there. Very, very dangerous man. I think the last one that he did beat her with a brick almost to death. And then raped her. This was the 3rd time he's been on day release and escaped. Now the police shared no information online, even though there was pictures of him, and I know because I got sent them. No pictures shared, and it was only the local paper, because someone leaked it to them, that shared it, that the police had to then say, "Oh, there's this very dangerous man in the area. Beware." A few weeks before that, I stopped 2 men from harassing a woman with kids outside the school that's right by my house. Right? They weren't white. They pulled a knife on me and then ran away. When the police came, they couldn't find those two guys, but they found another man, non-white again, with a knife, right by the fucking school. A few weeks before that, a man was stabbed, the guy that did the stabbing, non-white, across the road from the park that I mentioned from yesterday. Literally across the road, you can see it from the park. A few weeks before that, or a month or so, a man was stabbed in a barber shop, non-white. Before that, 2 more fatal stabbings, one in a school just down the road, and another in a cul-de-sac. Both perpetrators, non-white. Around this time, so 2 months ago, I'd say, I was taking my daughter to school, seeing a kid smashing bottles on the street while waiting for the bus, non-white. I confronted him, told him to stop. Him and his non-white mate didn't like it. They made up various allegations, started threatening my daughter, to the point I had to call the police because I'd gone to the school and then it got very serious. And this little cunt started making some serious accusations. So we got the police involved, and I said to the school, you need to sort this kid out. I'm not having that. Again, another one non-white. Every time I take my daughter to school, or every time my daughter goes to school, she is one of 4 white kids on the bus. Last week, a man threatened my daughter and I. Surprise, surprise, foreigner. I just told him to fuck off. But again, I was just walking with my daughter, laughing with her, and then he didn't like that, so he decided to threaten us. Thankfully, I'm a big lad, I can just tell people to fuck off, but I'm good at assessing danger. Now, I live in a popular part of Sheffield. Houses go from 400-500k upwards. But it's full of fucking socialists around here. People right in the area praise the diversity of it. Now, I'm not against diversity, but we've gone beyond that. Like I say, my daughter's the only one of 4 white children on the bus. That's beyond diversity. My family's been here since the Tudor period. Yet my kid is the minority going to school. Sick of it. Then with all the crime and so forth, we've made it a danger for our children. What the fuck are we doing? Then you've got all the Islamophobia going through the parliament at the minute. And it looks like the Muslim Brotherhood are... Labour won't say whether they are or not. This is a group of people that have ties to terrorism. And we're letting them just have a say. What the fuck are we doing? When did we become so weak? Where we cowered down. And it's not cowering down to foreign entities. It's cowering down to our own people. Our own people that call us racist or bigoted. Nazis. For opposing not general people, but people like this. This ideology. This political movement, and it is a political movement. It's not a religion. It's a political movement.
وأي
I'm opposed to that. So we're coming to the end now. I thought this was a good video. I'm not going to play it all. But you've got on this side people opposing a migrant hotel where some girl was assaulted. Let's put it that way. Let's put it mildly. These people, this is the liberal that I'm on about. These people are opposing.
Bloody hell. I'm just wondering if you'd answer a few questions. I just noticed with Stand Up to Racism, welcome to Refugees Welcome. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out. But I've noticed they're trying to raise awareness for child abuse. It's a bit. I'm just confused. That's all.
What's that?
The phone occupation.
Lee.
Pardon? Lee. Yeah, my name's Lee.
Right. What's all that, Lee? What's that
Antifa.
badge?
Well, you're not answering my question, are you?
Well, you answer mine. What's the badge?
The badge, Antifa Public Watch.
It's what, sorry?
You heard what I said.
No, I can't tell what you say. Go on, try again.
Antifa Public Watch.
Antifa Public Watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Why are you protesting against people that are trying to raise awareness for child abuse and using Stand Up to Racism as the name? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Show me some proof. Show me some proof.
One thing that interests me, are you against...
Now here's what I'll say about this. One, it just shows how fragmented we are, how divided we are, how not only you've got different races against each other, but you've got pockets of division within each race. Because in the Muslim population as well, they're divided. In the white population, atheist division, they're divided. The Christians, they're divided. Everyone's fucking split and divided. And what I'll go into further is these placards. You see these everywhere. Now, what pisses me off most about this, I'm paying for them. Your tax money, that where you pay so fucking much of, that's paying for these. Because these are provided by NGOs like Hope Not Hate and things like that, who are funded by our government, who are funded by our tax money. So we fucking pay for these cunts. And NGOs are set up. Here's the thing, and I'd like some lawyers to jump in on here, because here's how I see it. NGOs are set up to do things that governments aren't allowed to do legally. So by that very definition, you're doing things illegally, because you've got a government entity you've got a government body funding a government entity to do things that wouldn't be legal for a government to do. Surely there has to be a legal standpoint where you can stop that. Anyway. Another church into a mosque. Now, what I will say about this, and like I say, I've been to many Muslim countries and I've enjoyed most of them. This is more than just repurposing a building. This is a show of power. You can go to any Muslim country and speak to them about it. They will tell you exactly that. And you can't do it the other way around. Try converting a masjid into a church in any Muslim country. You won't be allowed. Islam is not a religion. It's a political force. and it's not to be underestimated. This was like the other one where you've got people protesting outside of a hotel because an illegal immigrant have been charged with harming our children. And yet, you have people like this dickhead standing against them. Not only standing against them, being violent. The world is fragmented. There are pockets of divide everywhere. If you're on one side, you need to stand up for your people. Be vocal. Don't be a coward. Use your voice. Before it's too late. Thanks for listening.